Okay. For our first task, we would like to import all of the volunteer information that's saved as a CSV on your desktop into Excel. Now, CSV is short for comma separated values. If you were to look at that file, which is right here on my desktop, in something like Word or Notepad, you'd see that it's pretty much just a Word document with all the data separated by commas. Now that's pretty easy to follow if you look at it in Notepad. However, it doesn't give you a lot of flexibility. You'll have a lot more flexibility by importing this data into Excel and then using the tools that are built in to get more bang for your buck. So that's what we're going to do in the first step of this project. So let's close this down. So we're going to go in Excel, which my Excel was already open. We're going to click blank workbook. And before we even get started, it's always a good practice to save your document. So we're going to go backstage. We're going to go to Save As, and we are going to save this in My Documents. With the name e10c1PledgeDrive, and where I'm typing last first, you're going to type your last name and your first name. So for example, if I actually typed my real name, it would be Davidson Jason, like so. And we're going to click Save. Now we're ready to go. So to import our CSV file, we're going to click the Data tab in the ribbon. From the Data tab in the ribbon, we're going to go to the Get External Data group and click From Text, because CSV is a text file. So here the CSV file is, notice that it's comma separated value file. So I'm going to go ahead and click that CSV file and click Import. And it's going to open the text import wizard. Now, every time you import a text file, this is what's going to happen. So the first thing you want to do is click My Data Has Headers. We're clicking that because that original CSV file that we saw at the beginning, which you can see previewed at the bottom, in row 1 has column headers. And that's what we want to use as our column headers when we import into Excel. So we're going to go ahead and click Next. The next thing you need to do is select your delimiter. The delimiter is the special character that's used to separate each one of the data points. Now, we are importing a comma separated values file. So the delimiter here is actually going to be a comma. Look at that. Now notice when I do that, you'll see it automatically split. So here we go. We click comma, and each one of those automatically split. So we're looking good. We're going to click Next again. Our data types are set as general, which is fine. We're going to click Finish. And as our last step, we have to tell Excel where we want to place this new data, which we're going to place it in cell A1 on this blank worksheet. We're going to click OK. And there's our data. Now, before we get going, as we check our data, it's looking pretty good. We want to note that right now it's just sheet 1. And that's not very business professional. So we're going to jump down to the bottom, and we're going to rename this worksheet Volunteer Information. Perfect. Okay. Now, our next step, you may notice, if you look at column D, it's not bad, but it could be better because right now, city, state, and zip are actually all listed in the same column. And we'll have a lot more flexibility if we split these into different columns. So column D would be city, column E would be state, and column F would be zip. Well, to do that, we can use a really nifty feature in Excel called text to columns. Now, text to columns will take a delimiter like a comma, for example, and use that to split the text into several columns. And that's what we're going to do here. So to use the text to columns feature, you want to first click the Data tab, which we were already on. We're going to highlight the column that we want to split and click Text to Columns. So it's going to look a lot like the text import screen. It's not, but it has several characteristics that are the same. It's got the delimiter options, and it's got a preview at the bottom. So we're going to click delimited because we know they're separated by commas. Click next. And we're going to choose as the delimiter, comma. And look at that, city, state, zip, exactly what we're looking for. So we're going to click next, okay? Our data types are set. We're going to click finish, and now we're really doing something here. So things are looking very good. Now, one of the benefits of what we've just done is we actually have a connection set between the original file, that original CSV file, and the data that you're visually seeing inside Excel. Now, because we have a connection set, we have the ability to make this refresh when the document is opened. So that means that if, for example, there's a change in your original CSV file, or if we make a change in that file, when the Excel document that has the linked data in it is opened, it will automatically refresh and update that data. Now, in order to make that work, we have to set a property, okay? We have to set a property. So we're going to click inside our data set and click in the data tab within the connections group and click properties. When you click properties, the external data range properties box opens. And we're going to click refresh data when opening a file and click OK. Now, when this document is opened, it will automatically check the CSV document for updates, and if they are there, it will appear inside this document. Okay. The last thing we do before we move on to our next step is resize column E, because you'll notice that things like South Carolina are cut off. We can do that simply by double clicking in between column E and F, and we're set to move on to our next project. Be sure to save as you go, and I'll see you soon.